In this video, we're going to take a look at the rest of the timeline. That's pretty much everything from the playback head and here and down, and so below the controls. And so we're going to be looking at the animation blocks, the video blocks, the layers, and so forth, and controlling them and so forth. So one of the first things I want to point out is that when you open a template that has a text animation, which is usually all of them, it's going to automatically go to the first block here, you can see, and it's going to go to the center of it. So you can see it's going right here, and it's going here, and you can see that it automatically has that text. I can click on this to go to the next one, to the other block. But another thing that you can do is you can see that there's a nav option here, and so I can go to that first one automatically or that second one here, and this allows you to pop in between them quickly and easily. So in many situations you're going to want to just edit the text in it, so this allows you to go to the various text things, put in your text, and then go to the next one and so forth. Now again, all of these are blocks here. They're context sensitive, so when I click on them, let's go and click on the video in this case, you're going to see the controls for whatever that animation or background or audio it is, and you'll see the controls. Any controls related to that are going to be up here. Now the little options, you see these little numbers here, these indicate the stacking order. So in this case, notice that this layer is above this one here, but this one is number 1, which means it's in theory it's actually the first on top. Now this really matters more when things are overlapping. In this case, they're not overlapping, and so it doesn't matter a whole lot. But you can change the stacking orders. There's a couple ways to do that. You can see again, note that this says 2 and this says 1, so that means that this one is actually on top, this second one here. So if I can come up here to this little icon here, and I can click on that, and you can see that I can, if I wanted to, I can say, okay, actually I want that one on top. So when I do that, notice that the number shifted to 1 there, and that's 2. Now another way to change this is to come over here to a block and Control or Alt click on it, and then I have a context sensitive menu that will allow me to change that order as well. And so notice that went back to 1, and now that's 2. Now again, this doesn't matter because they're not overlapping, but this is usually more important when things are overlapping. You might have graphics as kind of something underneath, a lower third or something like that, and then the stacking order becomes more important. The stacking order is also for videos, and so it doesn't really matter for audio, obviously. But videos, I can have multiple videos on one layer. We'll take a look at that in a second. But so the nav, we talked about the nav thing. This allows you to go between just the text animations. Now the rest of these controls here are related mostly to video, except for the delete. Delete will allow you to delete anything, of course. So let's just take a look at that. Now we see again we have we're looking at different options here. We have animation layers. Video layers are always going to be below the animation layers. And let's just scoot over here a little bit so that we have this video, and we'll take a look at some of these other options. Before we look at snap, we need something to snap to, so let's turn that off. And you can see I have this option to split. So if I have the video selected, I can click on split, and it's going to cut that video into 2. See, this new one is number 1 on the stacking order. If I drag this over, it would go on top of the other video. I can drag this around. If I had multiple video layers, I could drag the video to another layer. Animation layers are similar, by the way. I can drag animation blocks or blocks to other layers, animation layers, but I can't drag them to video or audio or background layers. So coming back to this block here, you can see that if I wanted to snap this to here, I could turn on the snap option. And now what you want to do, if you're trying to snap to a video to the left, then you want to kind of click on left of the center of whatever you're doing. If I was trying to click on something to the right, I would want to click on right to the center. But in this case, I want to come over here, just get pretty close, and it's going to snap into position there. And of course, if I didn't want it to snap, I'd just turn that off. Now, a freeze frame is going to allow me to go to the end of a video and then add a freeze frame, and that's going to basically add something here at the end. And there we go. So we got a static image right there. I can delete that, of course, if I want to. And similarly, I can click on this and I can duplicate it, and I'll get a duplicate of that video as well. And I can go ahead and delete that as well. So that's what these options do up here. And so we'll come down here and we'll just finish this off by looking at this. We do have the ability to hide layers. So I can go ahead and hide and remove those. And the little plus option on animations is to give you the ability to add an empty block. Now, something that you're probably going to want to do a lot of the time is you're probably going to want to add an empty block because you can see that it goes to wherever I have the playback head, and it's going to add that empty block there. So if I want it to be at the very beginning, I need to go to the beginning, which I can either rewind with this, or I can use that keyboard shortcut, Command, Control on Windows, lesser than sign, and then I can add that empty block there at the beginning. I'm going to go ahead and delete that again. Now the last thing I want to point out is that in most video templates, there's a video already there, and a lot of times you want to replace it with your own, or same thing with the photo. And so what you really need to do is go ahead and, especially if it's videos, go ahead and delete that, and then just import your new video and replace that. Now in photos, sometimes, especially if you're using something like some of these options here, static image, image animation, you can go into those and select that image animation and use browse for image, and it'll swap it in. But for videos, you're going to need to delete it and then add in a new one. And that pretty much covers a timeline in Easy Video Lab 2.